Hello everyone! In today's video, I will be setting up my monthly spreads for September, and this month's theme is Trip to Japan. I am using the Uniball Signo 0.28 to sketch out the cover page. I'm going on a trip to Japan this month with my partner and my best friend and her husband. The last time I traveled internationally was 9 years ago, and this will be the first international trip I take with my partner, so it is a momentous occasion for us. September is also my birthday month, and it was my best friend's idea to go on this trip together for my birthday. She lives in Seattle, so we're on opposite coasts, so getting to spend my birthday together is rare and special. I knew immediately that I wanted the theme to be around Japan, and I added the trip/travel element because I felt like it'd be easier to create spreads around a broader theme. I spent a lot of time on Pinterest brainstorming what elements I wanted to include in my spread, and I saw a good number of photos of a train station with cherry blossoms in the background and a train arriving, and it looked so picturesque. I loved the composition of the photos and saw several drawings and paintings of this same scene and thought I'd give it a shot drawing it out for my cover page. I know for a fact we'll be taking the Shinkansen and multiple other modes of public transportation, so I thought this was a fitting element for the cover page. I wanted to capture the sense of a train arriving at a station, but I don't have the drawing chops to draw all of that, so I kept it simple and just drew a train coming out from the right-hand side of the page. It is stopped by the calendar block on the left side of the page, and if the design of the train looks a little off, that's because I definitely did not study my reference pictures hard enough, and when I asked my partner what he thought this was, he thought it was one of our Philly trolleys. But honestly, that's close enough for me. They give off very similar vibes. I am using a Pilot Juice zero point 0.5 gel pen in a pink color to letter the month name. I picked up this pen at a Kinokuniya in New York City, and I will be looking for more of these in Japan because I love the color and how well it writes. For my color theme, I originally was thinking of incorporating dango into my spreads and was attached to this pink, green, and white color combination, except I can't really use white as a color, so I went with this yellow color instead, which paired well with my other pink and green Tombow brush pens. I knew I wanted the cherry blossom pink color because, well, cherry blossoms in Japan just go together, and I wanted at least 5 colors for my 5 different moods, so I added a muted blue and purple color to make kind of a mellow spring palette. I also add in a bright pinkish red color to add a little bit more brightness since when I think about Japan, I think of red. I am very happy with this color combo. I definitely have more fun with color themes that vary more in color, and I like how the pink-red contrasts with the spring colors on the next pages of my journal. For the train here, the reference drawing and photo I was using had this color combo of yellow and green, which are the same colors as our trolleys in Philly, so I'm wondering if this is like a universal color code for public transit or something. No wonder my partner thought it was our trolley. I'm coloring very carefully within the lines because from past experience, my Tombow brush pens will pick up the dark ink of the Uniball pen I use to sketch, and it will darken the color of my brush pen. So to prevent that from happening, I'm doing my best to avoid touching the lines. I wish I had a dark or bluish gray brush pen to color in the bottom of the train here. I only had black, but I felt like that would have made the page feel too heavy, so I went with the only gray pen I had, which is this very light shade. It does look a bit off, and I'm wondering if I should have just went with the black, but ah well. I added in a little blue here to try to make it look better, but not sure if that accomplished anything. Lastly, I'm adding in these small pink brush strokes to give off the impression of loose cherry blossom petals and to give the page a bit more texture. It is a bit hard to see on the camera since the pink is so light, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how this page turned out. Moving on to the mood tracker. Another common search result that popped up on Pinterest were vending machines. My partner has sent me a lot of Instagram reels on Japan in anticipation for our trip, and we've seen a couple that talk about how Japan's vending machines are elite. For example, they even dispense hot coffee from these machines. I really liked how colorful the bottles looked in the machine and thought such a concept would be the perfect vehicle for my mood tracker. Each bottle or beverage would represent a different day in the month, and they would be housed in this colorful vending machine. I stuck to simple again and drew very minimalistic beverage containers in varying shapes. I would have liked to have gone a step further and drawn in different packaging or branding for each beverage, but I chose not to for the sake of saving time. I'm drawing out 10 beverages per row with 3 rows, and that works out perfectly for the month of September, which has 30 days. The remaining details for the vending machine was kind of randomly designed. The reference pins I was looking at all had differing designs for the machines, but I particularly liked one that had a big price sign saying 100 yen. So I copied that for my design, and it worked out nicely to take up some of the extra empty space at the bottom of the machine. This also further cements the trip to Japan theme by specifying that this is a Japanese vending machine. It would be really cool if there is, in fact, vending machines in Japan selling drinks for 100 yen because that equates to about 70 cents, American cents per drink. So I will have to report back if we do find a vending machine as cheap as this one. For the vending machine to make sense, I also add a section for customers to slot in coins and bills, so I added those next to the price sign. I'm honestly not sure how this was supposed to look, and I was a bit lazy with the design here, but I think it still works. And lastly, on the bottom, we need this door for the beverages to come out of, so I'm drawing that in here. Now I'm moving on to coloring in the spread. I use this bright pinkish red Tombow to color in the background of the vending machine. I wasn't sure what this color was called, so I googled it, and apparently it's called Rubine Red. It definitely looks a bit more pink on video, but in person there's just a hint of pink in it that gives it a little bit more brightness. I like the idea of having a red vending machine that stuck out, and I felt like it having a bit of a pinkish shade to it would fit better with my spring palette than a blunt red would. I'm lettering the title of the tracker here at the top where usually I guess the logo or brand of the machine would go. As for coloring the coin and bill slots, I did not give much thought to which colors I'd use. I stuck with my color palette, so I'm using the yellow and pink to give some accents to this part of the machine, and then coloring the rest in gray. At the bottom where the drinks come out is where I'm laying out my key for the tracker. I usually do 5 moods for the month and using each of the spring colors as a different mood. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about using this light gray here. It is really light, and on video it almost doesn't show up at all. I'm wondering if it would have looked better if I had made it the same color as the rest of the vending machine now, but oh well, it's done. I'm using a Rubine Red again to color in the lettering of the price sign, and I am now belatedly realizing I left the rest of the sign blank, and if I had a bit more time while filming, I might have colored in the background of the sign in yellow to give some more contrast with the Rubine Red. I'm also outlining my mood circles in red to give more contrast against the gray since all the colors here are pretty light. Lastly, to finish off the spread, I'm numbering my days directly underneath the beverages on the shelf they're sitting on, and then drawing in my mood keys using different smiley or frowny faces. So that wraps up my mood tracker. Aside from questionable color choices, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. There is ghosting happening on the cover page now, but it is what it is. Moving on now to the habit tracker. This spread really embodies the trip to component of the month's theme. This is because I was struggling to come up with purely Japanese elements that could fit the functionality of my spreads, so I expanded the theme to include the element of traveling and taking a trip. This is actually my favorite spread for this month because I really like how it turned out aesthetically. I usually write out the calendar month for each habit I'm tracking, so it's very block shape in nature, and I wanted a square or rectangular element to house each of my habits. And in my Pinterest searches for Japan, I came across some pins that had really cute Japanese stamps, and I wanted to incorporate that into the spread, so I had an idea of having postcards house each of my habits and then featuring a particular stamp. Also, I did not realize it at the time while planning this design, but incorporating postcards into my spread further honors my friendship with my best friend. She is the most well traveled person I know and takes multiple trips a year where she will send me a postcard from wherever she visits. It always brings such joy to my day when I receive a postcard from her and get a glimpse of what she's seeing from far away, so I'm very pleased with this double meaning in my spread. For each habit, I am drawing out the outline of a postcard with a Tombow brush pen using the blunt side of the pen. After drawing the classic line down the middle of the card, I letter the habit name on the right side of the postcard and leave the left side of the postcard for my calendar block. I use the brush side of the pen to highlight a row where my days of the week will be written in, and then write out the calendar days underneath it with my Uniball signal. Then on the top right corner, I sketch out the borders of a stamp, and for each habit, I have a different design for each stamp. It is pure coincidence that these stamps were all food items. Clearly, my mind was on food when thinking about Japan, but I have a sushi, onigiri, ramen, and nigiri stamp for the four habits I'm tracking this month. Lastly, for each stamp, I color in the design of the stamp accordingly and then match the background color of the stamp to the color I used to outline the postcard. I would say usually I track 5 or more habits per month, but I am taking it easy for the month of September since I just moved apartments and am going on vacation. I'm still in the midst of unpacking and trying to get a bit more settled before I leave on vacation, so realistically, I know I'm not going to get a lot done in my bullet journal this month. So I decided to track the 3 most important habits to me, which are art, reading, and exercise. And then I threw flossing in there because I really need to up my floss game. My dentist is not happy with me. I don't know why I enjoy brushing my teeth, but I hate flossing. And to be honest, even putting it in my bullet journal doesn't really do much to motivate me, though I hope that will change for the sake of my gum health. Anyway, as I said earlier, this is my favorite spread out of all the ones this month, but I am a little bit sad about this last postcard here. The lavender definitely doesn't show up as well due to its light shade, but regardless, I liked how all the colors came together on the spread. I just wish the last one was a bit easier to see. So to finish up the spread, I am putting this thick dashed line that represents a path of travel. It's just something fun and whimsical to further drive home this concept of traveling and visiting places. And I also wanted to add something to the empty spaces adjacent to the postcards. I'm using the Rubine Red Tombow brush again and applying heavy strokes to get that thick line. And at the end of the path, I'm drawing a little bullseye destination icon. Usually, I would write the tracker name somewhere on the spread, but I didn't find a suitable place to include it here, so I just left it out for this month. Well, that wraps up my main spreads, which are high effort, and I'll include some clips of my low effort spreads, which are metrics I like to keep track of during the month, usually related to my health. I don't have the bandwidth to be creative with these tracker designs, so they're very low effort and straightforward. The most I do in terms of trying to stick with the theme is using different colors within my theme's color palette to letter the title of the trackers, and occasionally I'll add a little bit of extra colors when I draw the calendar month for my period tracker. I'd like to do more with these spreads, but bullet journaling would not be sustainable for me if I pushed myself too hard to be creative with every single spread, so this system currently works for me. Here is the completed flip through for the month. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and listening to how I come up with my designs. I'm really happy with how this month turned out, and I can't wait to see these elements in person in Japan. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next.